Hello, everybody. It is Thursday, my favorite day of the week when my name is Ryan Lanier. My business is Organizing for Good. And I just get so excited because the nonprofit Shoutout interview has really brought lots of awareness to the hard work that nonprofits are doing out there, particularly in Central Texas, but everywhere. And I am so excited today to bring you Stephanie Lane. She is Executive Director of Drive a Senior ATX. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate the shout out.
We are so happy to have you. And we've got Morgan, who is watching on Facebook. What is Morgan's title?
She's our volunteer coordinator extraordinaire. You can't
volunteer coordinator extraordinaire. I would say that. I totally agree. So shout out to Morgan watching. She's going to be popping in any links as we're talking and fielding any questions that may come up in the chat, but I want to address any of that too. So I would just love to have you just dive right in to what Drive a Senior is, what you do, how you serve.
Sure. So Drive a Senior was started in 1985 in West Austin when a group of local congregations saw a need for aging adults to get to the doctor's appointment. And they pulled together. 36 years later, we have Drive a Senior, Austin, Texas, and I think 5 other large senior transportation agencies across Central Texas. There were 9 Drive a Seniors, and through mergers and name changes, there's Drive a Senior, Austin, Texas, Drive a Senior, Northwest, Senior Access, and Chariot. All of them do pretty much the exact same thing with the exact same mission, which is to help seniors age in place and live happy, healthy lives. There is a website, driveasenior.org, and that website is a map. And if you go to that page, there's all the different areas. And if you click on it, you can find a senior transportation agency in the area that you live in. And Drive Senior Austin, Texas, we handle the West Austin, downtown, university area, all the way up to Wells Branch. And that is our service area. We have about 460 enrolled clients and about 300 volunteers. Our services provide free transportation to homebound isolated seniors. Our mission is transportation, but our real impact is relationships. A lot of seniors in Austin, unfortunately, are isolated, which leads to depression. It leads to food insecurities, and it leads to not receiving regular health care or addressing health needs that lead to severe illness. We provide seniors with 2 free rides a week, with the exception of our dialysis and cancer patients who need more extensive transportation, and that is unlimited for those clients. We also have a food pantry program where we deliver food pantry packages to regular members who are signed up for that program, friendly callers. We do all sorts of other programs. We do yard cleanup. We do cookie connection, where every single one of our clients gets home-baked cookies delivered to their home for the holidays. So we do transportation, but we also want to provide that socialization and that inclusiveness for seniors in their community. So that's kind of the meat and potatoes of what we do.
That is amazing. And I was really surprised to hear, well, maybe not surprised, but saddened to hear when I heard Morgan speak about just kind of some of the statistics that seniors are suffering in our area. You want to sort of touch on what's going on with this population?
So, it's a lot easier now for us to empathize with what seniors go through, because a lot of us went through something similar that first year of COVID. We were all isolated. We were trying to figure out how to get our groceries safely. We were trying to figure out how to get to the doctor. And that reality is the everyday reality of seniors, of homebound seniors who are either going through driving retirement or who have lost their ability to drive. And a lot of people don't realize that white males over the age of 80 have the highest suicide rate out of all demographics, which is a very alarming statistic. And that's not the face we want to have on aging. We want aging to be a happy, vibrant message, but there are these really important factors that as a community we are all responsible for, not just people aging. And recently, because of COVID, we started to do a deep dive into food insecurities for homebound seniors. And we discovered that Texas has the second highest rate of food insecurity among homebound seniors. And food insecurities, what that means is, going with no food for a whole day, or rationing food, not being able to have healthy food. So food insecurities is kind of, it's a broad statement. And, a lot of folks would think, oh, we'll just get them, food pantry or Central Texas Food Bank can deliver a box, which is an incredible program. However, what we learned is people want to eat with dignity. So not only do we have this food insecurity situation happening, but we're also skipping over the fact that people want to eat with dignity. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with someone wanting to have a nice meal several times a week. So there, those statistics have been, getting a lot more attention because all of us started to feel what it's like to not have access to your community through COVID. And there's still a lot more coming out. There's a lot of studies that are going to be coming out in the next year, because a lot of the big funders and medical foundations realize, oh my goodness, like we really are not doing a good job as a community taking care of our aging population. So,
yeah. Thank you. I was telling Stephanie before we got started, I almost always cry in these interviews, and we're right there in that vein because of that pain. But it's so amazing to understand that there are ways that we can support. So let's move to our second question. You talked about COVID, and I mean, how did you guys get through, what we all went through and still take care of these seniors? And what were some lessons that came out of that you've continued? Because we've all learned some things that we can do different and better now.
Sure. So, COVID pretty much eliminated anybody's access to anything for a couple of weeks there in Austin. Everybody kind of just took a pause. And the immediate solutions that folks wanted to try to address getting food on the doorsteps of homebound seniors just didn't work. It wasn't realistic. And we knew that here because we work with this population every single day. We can do it with our eyes closed. So on March, I think 13th of 2020, I showed up to my office and I got my staff in one room. I was like, we're doing a food pantry. And they're like, what? And I said, nothing's going to work. I said, we have the capability to immediately mobilize where the city and all these other programs don't. So we're doing a food pantry. And within a couple of weeks, we had thousands of pounds of food here with a system where we were delivering food care packages to seniors. And we delivered almost 12,000 pounds of food in 4 months to, I think, close to 300 seniors. We opened up our food pantry to any senior, not just registered clients. And the program took off. What we really wanted to do was provide that bridge in services that the community wasn't able to do on their own. To mobilize something like that took a lot of effort, a lot of work, but it was highly successful. And once other agencies, Parks and Rec, City of Austin, Meals on Wheels played a huge role in food access too. But once everybody had the dust settled and were able to put more pieces in place to do the food access, we decided to back off and we closed our food pantry in August. But, going back to your question, what did we learn and what have we done differently since then, is we learned that food access was a much bigger issue than we ever thought. Especially because we had people calling us from all over the state trying to figure out, how did you guys do this? How can you help us do this in our area? So we transitioned our food access program into one program called Senior Sidekicks, which pairs one volunteer with one senior to provide them with their regular groceries. And sometimes that's weekly, sometimes it's monthly, sometimes it's just ordering over the phone and having it delivered to their home. And then we also launched our food pantry delivery program where we use our transportation and food pantries food. So Hope Food Pantry and Micah 6 of Austin, they already had the food pantry system down. They wanted to get their food to seniors and didn't have the transportation. So we partnered. It was beautiful. And then we're relaunching our van program, which takes seniors to the grocery store as well. So the big lesson that we learned is we can no longer overlook or minimize food access for seniors. We have to do something now, especially in the event that we have another COVID spike. We're prepared to mobilize and take care of people. And, you said that you have, you get these tearjerker moments. And the thing that happened to me that made me realize that this gets me choked up every time, no matter how many times I tell this story. But that first week when the community shut down, one of our regular van drivers, our van riders, a gentleman that we take to the grocery store all the time, he called me and he was so scared that he was crying on the phone because he had no idea how he was going to eat. And that's what triggered me to realize, holy crap, there are thousands of seniors in this town who aren't going to eat. And that one conversation was the one that made me realize we have to do better. Have to.
Wow. Goosebumps. Oh my God. So
I can never ever tell that story without crying.
It's amazing. I mean, that is like right there in the heart of one person, and just really showed you really where you guys could make an effect. And wow, look what you did and continue to do. It's amazing.
I just wanted to interject that we could not have done that with the residents of Austin. So many people jumped in and so many volunteers. What do you need me to do? Hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. So the community of Austin really came together for that.
I always say we're better together. I mean, it's just, there's no question. And in an emergency, in anything, we are better together. It's a beautiful compound effect. Okay, so let's move on to, about these volunteers. It's a great segue. I mean, where are these people coming from? How can they help? Events, volunteer opportunities, like, let's tell people, because that is the way you guys stay busy.
This is my favorite part, because even though it's important to share the message of the struggles of homebound seniors, that's, like I said earlier, that's not what we want people to think about when you think about the elderly in your community. Aging should be a happy experience. Most of our clients are in a place in their life where that's all they are, is just happy all the time. And when a volunteer signs up with us, in the office, we have this saying, if we can just get them on one ride, if we can get a volunteer on one ride, they'll be hooked. Because working with homebound seniors is one of the most beautiful, rewarding experiences I've ever had. And I've been working in nonprofit for 20 years now. They're so grateful. They're so thankful. They just want to have a conversation with you. And in all honesty, in Western culture, we have really stepped away from that connection with our elders. And it's something that we need. It's, they need us to help them in their last part of their journey of life, but we need them. We need that connectiveness, that multi-generational love and care and affection. And so for volunteers, we really, really, really need drivers. We are short on volunteer drivers. It's a very easy way to volunteer in your community. Everything is done through a smartphone or on a desktop computer. You log into our scheduling program and you see any open rides that week, the next week, a month out, and you can sign up for as many or as little as you want, depending on what fits in your schedule. And then, of course, we have these other opportunities, grocery shopping and projects. We have a lot of office work we need help with. So there's a lot of ways to get involved, and any way that a volunteer is involved is incredibly rewarding. I've never had a volunteer walk away from this program saying, I just don't want to do this anymore. It's always sad when we have a volunteer leave. They call us and they're sad to leave because it's meaningful and you get addicted to it. You really do. It's so rewarding.
That is amazing. I love hearing that. What about events? Do you do events?
Sure, we do events. Right now, because of COVID, we don't have many. Everybody's still kind of, watching what COVID is going to do. Typically, we have games days where on site or at different congregational locations, we'll set up games, board games, bingo games, and just have a really fun time with our seniors. We have a bunch of volunteer drivers and our van that will transport them there and have, an hour and a half of games. We do have fundraisers. That's, we used to be inclusive of our clients in our on-site fundraisers, but we haven't really done one of those yet. We are going to have a car show in late spring this year. And we're trying to find a central location for that. And we want everybody to come. We want clients, volunteers, community members, funders, supporters. We're looking forward to having an inaugural event where everybody can come together. We do have home visits, which is, it's not really an event, but a lot of our volunteers just go and spend time with some of our clients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All of these. I love how you just said this is a very relationship-based way to connect. And it's so true. Culturally, we don't do that as much as we should. And I mean, come on, our seniors have so much to tell us. And there's so many of them that, we can't hear about, World War II as much, and, from their mouths as we could before. So it's like, we need to listen. We need to listen.
The stories that we hear from our clients blow me away all the time. Mm-hmm. Just, a lot of our clients, because of our location in the county, these are all the people who built Austin. Oh. Literally, these are the people who were here. This was one of the original neighborhoods, and the things that they share with me and tell me, and the people they know, yes, with the presidents and the governors and famous people. And it's always so awesome to hear these really cool stories.
Mm. Yeah, right. Because you're in Terrytown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, all of West Austin, that was the original location of Drive a Senior when it first launched.
Wow. That is amazing.
And I just, real quick, because you mentioned Terrytown, and I wanted to make sure people understood, there is a huge misconception about West Austin and seniors. West Austin has the highest population of homebound seniors. And you think of Terrytown, you think of a very lucrative idea of who lives here. And that's true. However, the elderly and those who are in their homes, they are all low income. They're house rich. They bought a house for $40,000 several decades ago. That's now $1 million, but they're struggling. They're paycheck to paycheck. They can't afford transportation services. And so this neighborhood and other neighborhoods that have a high volume of elderly, there's a misconception there. They're not rich. They're, they're just everyday people. And so I always have to clarify that with people.
Appreciate that.
There's a little bit of a disconnect there with the population we serve in this area.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I mean, in my mind as well, if you're in local Austin, where Terrytown is. It's an incredible neighborhood. But it's true. You can definitely be house rich over there. But you could sell it for a couple $1 million, but where are you going to go? Mm-hmm. Right? Where are you going to go? So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. Now we're to the part of the interview where I ask you to just touch our hearts with something that from a volunteer or a client or both. And just, really get us inside what it's like in Drive a Senior ATX.
Sure. So when I knew there was going to be a time for storytelling, I knew exactly what story I wanted to tell. And then what was interesting is that the client and the volunteer that I wanted to tell the story about came in yesterday to visit me. And they brought something special for our staff. It was supposed to be a secret, and I'm still going to keep it mostly secret. Because the client is just so appreciative, and she will say to everybody, we saved her life multiple times. She has cancer, and it came back for a third time. And so she's going back through radiation treatment, and she has a regular volunteer who has become a part of her life through Drive a Senior. Mm-hmm. And maybe it was a month or two ago, this client's rabbit died. And this rabbit was a house rabbit. And I've had a house rabbit. They're just like cats. So you can box train them. And so this house rabbit was this client's just little soul buddy, especially with cancer treatments and being alone in your house. And the rabbit lived 10 years, and the rabbit died. Mm. And it was really hard for the client. But what was harder was she wasn't strong enough to bury her rabbit. I know. Hold on. I gotta collect myself.
Dang it.
I know.
Right.
So this volunteer brought a shovel over and helped this client bury her house rabbit, her little soulmate pet, and did a little service and made sure that she was taken care of and that she had family around to walk through that process. Because when you love a pet that much, it's really hard. It's hard enough to do it, but doing it alone is even harder. So that's one of my favorite stories. And I wish I knew the name of the rabbit at least, but I don't know the name of the rabbit. That's just, I mean, it's a prime example of what happens at Drive a Senior. It's you can't not do this work and get attached to some of the clients. And
thank God.
I know,
right?
It's really, really meaningful and special. And that volunteer, her parents aren't around anymore. Right. She's, I think, she might be in her 50s. So that experience for her was really special as well. She was able to connect with someone on that maternal level and have that fulfillment of family as well.
Yeah. Family is who you bring into your heart, not just who, genealogically you're related to. So I love that story. Thank you so much. And that does lead me to a follow-up question. So seniors, my mom especially, her dog is everything to her, right? That's their only person sometimes, And do you ever, like in Drive a Senior, is there any, I guess when they go, do you take seniors and their animal to the vet? Like, would that ever be a?
We sure do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Any kind of, so we focus on medical rides. Right. But out of those 2 rides that a client has available to them, one of them can be what we call a quality of life ride. If they want to go get their hair done, if they want to take their fur baby to the vet, if they want to go, we have a lot of spouses who we take to go visit their husband or wife in nursing care.
Okay.
So any kind of quality of life ride, because you can't do medical without all the other pieces.
Oh, yeah.
And so we look at our services as a holistic approach to healthy aging. And when you bring seniors out of social isolation and you allow them to have those quality of life moments, they're healthier, they live longer, they are able to stay in their homes much longer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's fascinating. And that's so great. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you just want to share?
No, not really. We really look forward to getting more volunteers. If anybody's listening and sending this video out, it really is convenient. All the training is done online. Morgan Screen, who is helping us with the event, our volunteer coordinator, she is very responsive. She gets you hooked up. And even though this is kind of a remote volunteer exchange with the agency, we're there for our volunteers. We have coffees and opportunities to meet other people. And so, if you're looking for something, I would say just try it. Just do your online orientation and try one ride and you'll be hooked and you'll find a place in your community that fits.
We're all driving anyway.
Exactly.
Right. So I think it would really give people an appreciation for just every day, right?
Absolutely.
I really do feel that. So thank you so much for your time today. This has just been amazing. I know that my son and I we were already planning to sign up through our mother-son volunteer thing that we do. And, I really look forward to, I don't know if I'll meet you, but I'm really looking forward to that. And just really so good. So thank you so much, Stephanie. And everybody that's been watching today. So you heard something that struck a heart, something for you. Share this, please, to your personal page if you're comfortable with that. I really do feel like that is the way to up-level people's involvement. Like they said, we're short on drivers. And aren't you always driving? And wouldn't you love to do something special with your gas? You put good karma on your gas, yes?
So I gave you guys the general website for all the transportation agencies. Our website is driveasenior.atx.org. That's driveasenior.atx.org. If you go there, All the information is there on how to sign up. You can call our office with any questions. If you live outside of our service area, we'll point you in the right direction, but we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. And I went through the training and it was painless and quick, and I feel ready to go ahead and sign up. So again, so thank you so much for watching the Nonprofit Shoutout interview today. Like I said, like, share, and follow the nonprofits that I talk about. There is a whole YouTube channel. If you just need some feel goods, you can go check out the interviews I've been doing since COVID started. That's a lot. This is actually the last interview of 2021. In 2022, I'm changing my format a little bit where I'm gonna highlight one nonprofit for a whole month. Okay. So instead of one a week, 3 a month, I'm gonna dial into one nonprofit for an entire month. And for January, it's going to be Dress for Success Austin. So I'm really excited for the new format to really, really pump up a nonprofit that in all the ways I can think of. So thank you so much. And I'm going to let you guys get back to your day. Like and share, listen to us in the car, whatever works for you. So thanks, everybody. See you next time. See you next year. Sorry, I had to.